When I look at the heavens, when I look at the heavens, when I look at the heavens,
when I look at the heavens, the moon and stars, I shout your name, I praise your name, oh God. When I look at the oceans, the beasts of the sea, I shout your name, I praise your name, oh Lord my God.
Welcome to Come and Relax with HeCoin, sponsored by Health Education and Counseling Institute, the premier online educational institution in Jamaica, the Caribbean and beyond. Come and Relax with HeCoin is an interview and discussion segment which focuses on topical issues which may be controversial on health, aggression in proximity relationships, theology, business, politics, music, tourism and hospitality, or issues which are relevant to you or listening audience. This program is aired this and every Thursday at this time on this station and comes to you on several international media houses in the world through various platforms on website, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll be your host, Ambassador Professor Reverend Dr. Colin O'Neill Jarrett from Jamaica, President and CEO of this 33-year-old institution. HeCoin, reaching people where they are, leading them to where they should go.
I shout your name, I praise your name, oh God. When I look at the mountains, the sky and sea, I shout your name, I praise your name.
oh Lord my God, you made humanity
A little less than your divinity.
Oh Lord my God, we marvel, you are great. You crown us with your glory and your love.
I have found Come and Relax with HeCoin to be interesting and an insightful program. Wherever I am, I can't afford to miss the speakers and what they have to offer. When is the next program again?
Greetings and welcome to Come and Relax with HeCoin, which comes to you today from Mansell East meets West Indian Restaurant, Shop 16A, Sony's Plaza, Main Street, Oteria, St. Anne, Jamaica. Call Latoya or Hensel for your restaurant booking at 1-876-601-2612 or email info@carwhja.com. Excellent setting here at Mansell East meets West Indian Restaurant for meetings, weddings, and other events. I'm your host, Ambassador Professor Reverend Dr. Colin O'Neill Jarrett. Let me thank the following media houses for airing Come and Relax with HeCoin: RCP, Internet Radio and TV, YouTube and Facebook, TDN TV on vstreams.com, TDN TV on Facebook, TDN Network 1 on YouTube, UFDV Gospel, and DCM Internet Radio and TV. Our listening audience has been climbing every week. Thanks to you, we cherish your presence. Continue sharing this link with others. From time to time, you will hear familiar sounds reminding you that we are in Mansell East meets West Indian Restaurant, smack in the middle of the Garden Parish of Oteria, St. Anne, Jamaica. We'll take a break. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm Indra Jamnani, a proud graduate of HeCoin Montego Bay Campus, Jamaica, where I did a 6-month course in Elderly Care International Diploma Level 2. What I love about the program is that it was intriguing. The environment was soothing, and the tutors are registered nurses with degrees and have a wide knowledge of experience. I received credit in my theory and distinction in my practical, and will be pursuing a career in nursing. My experience on the practicum site was tremendous, because when I was on practical, everyone there thought I was already a certified nurse, and not knowing that I was just a student. HeCoin has an excellent payment plan. You don't have to worry about how you're going to pay your tuition fee. You don't have to borrow a student loan. No, all you need to do is get yourself registered, make your first payment, and then make monthly payments afterwards. HeCoin is one of the best nursing institutions to attend because their certifications are recognized internationally. Being a HeCoin graduate makes me a proud nurse, and with HeCoin, your dreams become reality. Choose HeCoin.
In 1962, the late Risa and Egbert Myers started the Haddington Basic School in Eastern Hanover until they retired and moved from that community. Their dream was that every child in the community had the opportunity to receive early childhood education. The legacy continues with the children, especially Joan and Junior Myers, who continue to live out the dream of their parents in the renaming of the school REMEC, Risa and Egbert Myers Educational Center. Come and relax with HeCoin, a 33-year-old international training institution, will interview Joan and Junior Myers, administrator and principal respectively of REMEC, children of the founders. HeCoin believes in generational wealth and family business, especially those with an educational focus. Join host, marketing and media specialist, educator and professor of media studies for over 30 years, Ambassador Professor Reverend Dr. Colin O'Neill Jarrett from Jamaica, who is in the second generation of leadership at HeCoin, as he discusses the dream of REMEC with Joan and Junior Myers, who are also in the second generation of leadership of REMEC. The date to remember, Thursday, August 25, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. in Jamaica or 8:30 p.m. in other parts of the world on various international platforms all across the world, including the websites, Facebook and YouTube of RCP Internet Radio and TV, DCM, UFDV Gospel and all platforms of TDN. HeCoin, your dreams can now be your reality. Welcome back. In terms of human development, the importance of early childhood education can't be overstated. A child's early years are the foundation for his or her future development, providing a strong base for lifelong learning and learning abilities, including cognitive and social development. Children who take part in early childhood education programs have improved social skills. In a preschool setting, children learn crucial skills like listening, sharing, and taking turns with others. High quality early childhood education gives children the best start in life. It provides important opportunities to learn and develop. In that light, in 1962, the late Risa, that's RISA, and Egbert Myers started the Haddington Basic School in Eastern Hanover, Jamaica, until they retired and moved from that community. Their dream was that every child in the community had the opportunity to receive early childhood education in standing with the 2030 vision of Jamaica Land We Love. The legacy continues because I understand this rich legacy continues with the children, especially Joan and Junior Myers, who continue to live out the dream of their parents in the renaming of the school from Haddington Basic School to Risa and Egbert Myers Educational Center, called the REMEC. In our boardroom are Junior Myers, principal, and Joan Myers, administrator of Risa and Egbert Myers Educational Center, REMEC. Great having you both in Come and Relax with Pecan. Kuno face, Junior and Joan. Looking beautiful, well, man. Great seeing you. Great seeing you. And you know about this legacy and how I love it, because when we talk about generational wealth and moving from parents to children to grandparents to grandchildren. So I hope you people have that in mind now, because you have to now continue the legacy. And that's very important indeed. You are part of the second generation of REMEC. Likewise, I am in the second generation of ownership of HeCoin. Let's talk about this whole business now. So I want Joan to start off. Tell us a little about your parents residing in a part of Eastern Hanover in Jamaica, and the list goes on based on that question. Over to you, Joan.
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks for having us, Colin. I mean, it feels really nice on this end to just be talking about legacy that is rich. My parents, which are now deceased, unfortunately, lived in Hanover for most of their lives. My dad was a pastor, and if you would remember, Jamaica is, and I think the church on a whole continues to move around pastors. So we ended up in Hanover. And that's where I was born. As a matter of fact, all my siblings were born in Hanover. And that's really how my parents got to Hanover. My mom who was a missionary, then became a teacher voluntarily and was not trained formally until later on, but started the school out of her love for education, which was actually the only basic school in the area in which we reside in a little place called Haddington. So here we are. We are actually, my mom is my first teacher, and I'm sure my mother is the first teacher. So we are the product of a great, great, great one woman whose legacy just continues to evolve, and here we are, just longing and looking forward to continue that legacy.
Very well. Now for Junior, what was it like growing up with parents who were big into early childhood education? What was it like?
Well, for me, there was always an emphasis on learning. Learning books, reading books was very important. Even though we never had a library at home, we were encouraged to read books based on what my father had at his disposal. So theological books, we read a lot of those. And when we all became members of the nearest library. So there was a library in Hopewell, a branch library. We joined it. And the library in Montego Bay also, those of us who were allowed to go to Montego Bay, right? Like myself, was the first one. On my enter in Cornell College, I was encouraged to become a member of the public library. So I would go to the library in the afternoons after school and read books, and also do my homework there, because that was the best place to do it, because on getting home, I would not have electricity to use. So from very early, I started wearing glasses. I'm not wearing right now because I need to have them changed, and they're not any use right now. But from very early, I developed bad eyes because of poor lighting at home. And if you remember, if you want to know where Haddington is, the specific location was Haddington, which is adjacent to Friendship. Friendship was where the member of parliament, one Arnold Jackson, was living at the time. And we had the Friendship Baptist Church, and near along the Watford Baptist Church. So we were surrounded by two Baptist churches. My father became very closely attached with the Baptist churches. So because oftentimes he would go there to preach, because those churches never had any resident pastor. These were pastors who lived elsewhere. And so the community was short of opportunities for early childhood learning. So when my mother started at school with 12 children, right? Jesus, who had his 12 disciples, right? All on a single bench, well, two long benches that they used in the churches. They were using them in crusades. And it started on the veranda of the church house, the parsonage or the church manse. That's where we started. And as it grew, its popularity, its enrollment became enlarged. So emphasis was placed on education. And so from very early, we were taught that. We were taught to read. All of us had to read. We had to read at devotion in the morning, when we had family devotion. We took turns and read the Bible. And those who could not read well, the others encouraged them. So when they couldn't pronounce the words, we would, we who could read, encouraged them. My father bought a newspaper regularly. Sometimes he bought the Sunday Gleaner on a Monday because he never came into the area. So we were also encouraged to use the newspaper as a way of learning how to read. And there was a section in the newspaper, you had things like the crossword puzzle. And so we would get to learn new words using that in association with our dictionary. So from very early, we were attached to dictionary. I learned a lot of big words from very early, because when you could use those big words from early, people had a mindset that you were educated, big words. And father used a lot of big words in church too. So we have to go and research what those words really meant, right? And sometimes he used some of them that were out of context, and we have to remind him, or mispronounce them. But life was great. Life was great. Though poor it was in terms of the absence of a lot of resources, we enjoyed life as children. Parents are strict people, and when it came to being on the wrong side of the law or on the wrong side of the rules of the house, they dealt with us very harshly. But we were a loving family, right? Particularly on a Sunday afternoon when dinner was, we all had to have family dinner. Everybody had to be present at the dinner table to have Sunday dinner. It never happened during the week because everybody had their own schedule. But Sunday was a very special day for all of us. as a family. And there we would review and talk about our issues and so on and plan for the next week. So life was good. And the children in the community enjoyed coming to the school, right? They loved it.
Okay. Now, Joan, I want you to walk us through the conception of the first name school, Haddington Basic, as you remember it unfolding in your eyes as a child.
Wow. I remembered living in a church, and the school was actually right there. I didn't have to walk any further than coming down some steps, and I am at school. When I left, or when you finish the basic school, you're then sent on to a primary school. Well, we had to walk 3 miles every day one way to school. I remember walking in the dark with a torch, pine torch you call it, your nose filled with soot from the torch that you're taking. But for my mom's school, those memories for me are very, very precious. Every time I see a progress in my life as an individual, I owe it to the fact that my mom taught me how to read. So for me, that's a legacy that I embrace, and I embrace it very deeply. I think it's very special. And all my siblings, I mean, we are from a very comical family. So ever so often we will sit down as siblings and reflect on some of the things we went through. My mom was a lady who washed. I have a brother, my brother who follows me, really like the comic. He will tell you, my mommy will take one day to sing one song because she washes and she stops to teach. She's cooking and she's teaching. And as I remember, there's a particular young lady, Miss Yvonne Blackwood, who was a past student of my mom's school. And she had shared that memory the other day when we were talking about putting the school together. And she was so deep into reflecting as to how Mama would be washing the clothes and stop to see if they write the letter A. And she continues to wash. So it's a very precious memory. It is something that as a community we embrace, and it's something that we believe it's so rich that we don't want to leave that alone. If my mother's school was called Miss Sister Risa's School, Miss Risa's School, it had no specific name. So it was all about my mom because she single-handedly started that school. And, just it is something that she has always wanted to do, to continue to see kids learning. And I think that what we have done as a family is something that my mom would be loving. And if she was alive today, she would be very proud. So
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. And I thank you, the children, for continuing the legacy. I know what it is. Junior, walk us through the limited resources now. I mean, I say you look limited, the limited resources that the school went through and made it well.
First of all, my mother this thing was started as a private operation. So she was not on the government's payroll. So whatever fees she collected, she charged. And this was just based on people's ability to pay. So if people could not pay this, we're still allowed to send the children to school. There are people who are still owing Mama money from way back. Chop on some penny, because pay them up it, right? But my mother charged some minimal fees just to help to pay for things like giving the children a lunch, because my mother made sure that they got a cooked meal every day, right? So she also raised her own chicken. She had her chicken house that she would raise chickens in, and those chickens would be slaughtered, and the meat was used to provide meat proteins for the children. Subsequently, after starting the operation, she got aid through the Ministry of, through the Member of Parliament then. She was assisted by getting supplies from the Ministry of the government, things like bulgur. I remember bulgur coming, and other things that would come periodically, right, to assist in defraying the food costs at the time, right? But she relied a lot on the ground provision in the community, so the breadfruit and the yam and the sugar cane and the fruits, those are all part. People voluntarily brought them because there was just this love for what was going on. So people gave of their small little resources, right? People would pick up pumpkin and bring it come. Some chocho, some kalalo, and all those things were used to together make meals for the children. Just like the people in the Bible, in the Acts, the apostles, the people in the community, they brought their things together and they had a communal gathering and people would eat from it. It was like that. So there was that limitation in terms of money. There was also a limitation in terms of seating resources. So the same benches that the children sat on, they would then kneel on the floor and use the bench as a desk to write on, right? Mm-hmm. And as things got a little better, they moved from the veranda to the garage that my father used to park his pickup in. My father was not just a pastor, he was also a builder. So he drove a pickup because he needed a pickup to transport materials. So in the nights, he would park. In the day, the pickup was not there, he was gone to work. So she would use the garage as a school. And then as things, the school expanded, she sought permission from the pastor of the church. Now, he was her husband, but he was also the pastor of the church. So she had to go to the church and request permission to use the church hall as a place for the school. The church board decided, yes, that she could use it. So providing that she kept the place clean on the weekend so that they could have services on Sundays. So when weekend came, she would clean up the church hall and she would get to use it back on Monday morning because they would have after having services. So those are some things. Until eventually, my father bought a piece of land next neighbor in the church. We probably have it in mind that in the years to come, the building could be expanded. And when he left that church, because he was relocated to a new church in Catchinall, a new work. There was no church. So he was placed there to start a church in Catchinall, right? He subsequently gave the land to the church for it to be expanded, right? And what they did was to build a school on it, right? Because the church, they gave the land to the school because the school was now being operated like a community school. So they had a board, right? That was after Hurricane Gilbert, my mother retired. So they had a board that operated it. And so he gave the land to the school because they were looking land to build a school on, as probably adjacent to the church. So it was not named, it is not managed, it was not managed under the oldest Christian church, which is where we came from. Right? The oldest Christian church was part of what the church was a member of, or a part of. It operated as a Haddington Basic School, right? And so it was built on that piece of land, and it's still there now. The structure, beautiful structure is there, and it's being managed by a board independent of the church, right? So it is. Okay. They got funding from JSIF and from other agencies that helped to build this structure, and it is there as a monument and testimony to my mother's work in the community.
Very well. And Joan, what was the driving force of your parents starting an early childhood institution in Eastern Hanover? They had no money. So what was the driving force?
Well, first and foremost, there was no school in that neighborhood, like none. There was not a basic school. Kids had to walk 3 miles to probably the nearest basic school. And my brother probably would be better able to tell her that because I'm the 6th of 8. So he's the foundation of the family. But based on what I have learned, my mom started that school because of the fact that there was a need. There was nothing present within the community as far as early childhood education is concerned. In addition to which, because of the church, there were many kids attending the church. So Sunday school was the only form of school that was present. And come Monday morning, these kids had to walk 3 miles to go to somewhere to learn. So for example, I grew up learning my mom's school is the basic school within the community and so forth. Anybody who was in my era would know that. And in my brother's era, who is the first one, that's always been the school. So that school has served many, many generations, many persons in different verticals of this aspect of life. And people who are now in great positions in government, in teaching, in healthcare, that have passed through that school. So my mom did it for the love of the community, the love of the people, and just wanting to see kids learning.
Very well.
Well, as my sister said, Colin,
Mm-hmm.
there was no school nearby, right? The nearest school was in Hopewell, right? At the Methodist Church, the nearest basic school was in Hopewell. So children would have to walk 3 miles on dirt road, rocky road, to go down and walk 3 miles up in the night when there was no street light. Secondly, we at that age, we were eligible to attend basic school. I probably was the only one who, when she started school, I was not eligible to go to primary school. I think I spent 1 year. I spent 1 year or a little more than a year in her basic school, and then I went to Watford Hill Primary School. So her children, her family, she saw the need for them to have a basic school, forced her to start a basic school primarily to allow for her children to go to school. But beyond that, the children who came to Sunday school were not reading well. So they were struggling. So she saw that need, because if you're going to have people stay in the church and move up in the ranks of the church, you want them to be able to read. So she provided an opportunity for them so that they could learn, read the Bible, and be able to understand it and context and put it in practice in their own lives. So that need sprung from what was existing in her family, what existed in the church, particularly in the Sunday school class that she taught, and beyond that in the wider community around us.
Okay.
And so she started it right after independence in 1962.
Right. Very well. We are learning so much about the foundation of REMEC, which is very important for the success of any business. We will learn more about REMEC when we return. Soon come.
Yeah.
Health Education and Counseling Institute HECOIN offers certificates in housekeeping, food and beverage, customer care, security guard, events planning, and many other short courses, which are all offered online with 8 intakes each year. Visit www.hecoinglobal.com or call our WhatsApp 876-223-7204. HECOIN, reaching people where they are, leading them to where they should go. Welcome back, and thanks to our guests for continuing in our discussion on Come and Relax with HECOIN, broadcasting from Mansell East meets West Indian Restaurant, smack in the middle of Uteria St. Anne, Jamaica. We have with us Junior Myers, Principal, and Joan Myers, Administrator of Risa, REMEC, of Risa and Egbert Myers Educational Center, REMEC, in Eastern Hanover, Jamaica. Very important that we say Jamaica. So the credit is given to your late founders who were the parents of Junior and Joe. Now, Junior, we start off with you. Is there any special legacy of the first institution that you would want to bring along to the renamed institution? Could you highlight them for us? Because we know that with your experience in education, you will be bringing the best to REMEC. A big question that you know, sir.
One of the things that my mother practiced and demonstrated during her time our operating school was the whole question of music, how important music is to the development of a child, right? My mother was very big on music.
Mm-hmm.
And on account of that, we as every one of us can either sing using our voice instrument, or we can play an instrument, right? I was the first one who learned to play a musical instrument, right? When I was at Cornwall College. And I shared it with others in the family. And my last brother, he took it to a higher level, right? Benji Myers, right? So he has made music his lifetime professional occupation, right? And so music, my mother saw it as an important part of development of a child. So we'd like to bring that into our operation, into this second phase of the operation. The other thing was the importance of siesta time, rest time. I find that today's children, they don't know how to rest. They are always engaged in something. And so they become so tired at the end of the day that they can't even sleep well. We as children, we were given a certain time of day to just rest. No means sleeping, just relax, rest. Just let your mind rest, relax itself. So we'll put our head down on the table and we'll say, some people would fall asleep, but we were just given this time of rest. Rest is important, my mother said, to the body and to the mind. So siesta time is important. And that's not important for that. We were taken outside often to just walk in the environment and explore the environment. Find out other things about our environment and become attached to it. Those are important. And how we should care for the environment. Now we see what being uncaring about our environment is doing to our world now. Right? We were taught that. People were taught how to clean up a place. So we learned nursery rhymes. While we were cleaning up, we were singing these songs like, I can't call it, but we were taught how to pick up the things and we were singing songs and keep the place clean, right? I read one of her mantras was that cleanliness was next to godliness, right? So it was nothing wrong. She never saw anything wrong, and we never felt anyway that at the end of the day, the children would be engaged in clean up their classroom space. So she never employed an ancillary worker. The children did that. And we see the Japanese have started doing it in their schools, where the children clean the classroom at the end of the day. They don't have ancillary workers there, right? You make your mess, you clean it up. She taught us as children how to do that in that school and even at home. So those are things that we want to bring back. That philosophy of caring for your environment, caring for your space, and the whole question of learning to interact with that environment in which you are in. And it's important.
Thank you, Junior. Very important point. Joan, you have a great passion. I met you before, Junior, although it should have been the other way around. But there you go. You have a great passion working with your brother on this project. I know you have worked night and day to bring this to fruition, both of you, but more so you because I've been speaking to you more often. Walk us through the processes of making today a reality to start REMEC for September 1.
Well, it's a very exciting feeling, I must say. And when I get excited about things, I push. I am a natural go-getter. If I start a project, it must not fail, right? So I'll do the extreme or go to the extreme to make it happen. When the thought came about, initially to continue renaming the school, we actually wanted to rename the initial school my mom started up in the country. But it was a little too much, politics in the play. And we got discouraged, to be honest, and we just left it there. When our parents died, there was one particular lady who worked with my mom back then in Haddington when she had the school. And she came to visit the house with my brother one day. And we're talking about doing the school back up in the country, and just can explain to her the challenges we had. Now, that lady was the lady who says, why you don't use the house and convert it in the school? And that fire was lit. And from I heard that, I was like, everyone in the family was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Well, I am the little more aggressive one, and I'm very aggressive. I was raised with 7 boys and 1 girl. So I'm always pushing, right? When it seems impossible, I'm always the person who will never give up. So I started the ball rolling, you know, I tried to keep the loop going. We have a family chat, we keep each other posted, sharing ideas, and everyone was lit. That gave me the adrenaline also when everybody was on board. You know, what else do we do? So I went ahead of the game. I went ahead of myself because I know this was something my mother wanted. And when I think about it, the whole feeling of it happening in their own home, in their own house, you know, it was interesting. The name came up. My brother was very instrumental in putting the name together. My sister was saying, let's make a nursery to it. And then we like found out all the, you know, details of the nursery. Was like, it is going to be too much right now. So we'll just start with the prep school or the preschool. So I went ahead, you know, I found out the software that I would love for it to be used, because I see my mom's school as a state of the art, at today's kind of a setup. So for me, it's not going to be a regular basic school. It has to be a state. I live in a first world country. Education I see around me. I work around the preschool, and what I see is good. And that's something I would love to bring back. So, you know, we are going to be doing a training for the staff. We'll be going to be using a particular software, we believe.
We lost your connection, Joan. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, I think
Continue. Right,
yes.
right.
We would love to have the technology that the today's child needs to use, because we are in the technology age. We can only go further, but we're not going backward. So we will be using the latest technology to teach. You know, stuff like if we have to make a call to all the parents one time, the phone rings and every parent gets a message at the same time. So I really want it to be a state of the art.
Center of excellence.
Excellence.
Very
Yes,
well, very well. Junior, and you have the right person working with you. And you are you're one of 2 girls, correct?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay,
Well,
good,
my
good. So
family
that's
they're all educators, you know, Colin.
I
Everybody
know,
a
I know.
teacher. Me
I
not the
know.
teaching thing. I'll do the things.
Yeah, I know. That's why you took on the administration
Probably.
and Junior took on the principalship. Very well. Now, being Junior, being a 21st century institution with modern approaches to learning, what are the new strategies? I know John took a few a while ago, but as the educator who is practicing enough, you understand me, enough like me, what kind of new strategies you will be bringing to REMEC?
First of all, as my sister said, the technology that, apart from, well, the technology that exists in first world country, we're going to try to see as much as we can to transfer that model into our operation, right? So it will not just be chalk and talk thing. It will be interactive learning, right? It will be we will finding ways to get children to interact with kids from other places at the same time, so that they can see and appreciate. Pardon me?
Blended.
Yes, a blended approach. A blended approach they'll be using, right? And so they'll get the opportunity to interface with other kids from other jurisdictions, other areas. There'll also be the cases. Peers may not necessarily be able to come to PTA meeting, but they can stay where they are and participate in meetings. So online operation, online meetings, right? So you don't have to be calling a parent all while in face-to-face, because time is a very important commodity now, and people can't spend a whole day just coming and leaving their job to come. So we're gonna have that operation, so we can speak to them in that new using that new paradigm. Okay. In terms of reports and so on, right? The progress report, like a weekly report or a monthly report on the child's progress, you can upload it onto your system and you can see what's going on for your child. So you don't have to be, I'm going to school to remember what's going on. No, you can get that update every month from your school. Just it's uploaded to your device or whatever it is. So those are some of the things that we are thinking of, right? And the child will be assessed. A child will be assessed at the very outset to determine if there are limitations in terms of our challenge that the child may be having that would probably hinder the child's progress, developmental progress. And make that assessment so that we can use the results of that to guide the child development as we go along. You can't just look at a child and say, well, he's not learning, he's not learning. So, yes, he's not learning, but what is the problem? What is the reason why the child is not learning? We need to know that, right? So periodically we have people come in at the start of the year to assess these kids, whether it be a psychological test or, whatever it is. Let them get it done so that we can have proper scientific assessment of a child and use scientific approaches to help the child's development.
Very well. When we return, we will find out about the hidden curriculum and outside activities that will make the school the center of excellence in Jamaica. Soon come. Royal Central Praise RCP Internet Radio and TV in St. Kitts invites you to listen to Caribbean News Brief CNB on Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Join Caribbean veteran in news production and news presentation for over 30 years, Ambassador Professor Reverend Dr. Colin O'Neill Jarrett from Jamaica, for reliable and comprehensive news in the Caribbean. CNB on RCP every Tuesday and Friday at 10 in the morning. RCP, the breath of fresh air. Health Education and Counseling Institute HECOIN offers certificates in housekeeping, food and beverage, customer care, security guard, events planning, and many other short courses, which are all offered online with 8 intakes each year. Visit www.hecoinglobal.com or call our WhatsApp 876-223-7204. HECOIN, reaching people where they are, leading them to where they should go. Thank you for sticking and staying with us on Come and Relax with HECOIN, speaking with Junior Maz and Joan Maz of REMEC in the final segment of this invigorating interview discussion with the second generation of REMEC. Start with you again, Junior. Tell us about the outside learning environment that you will use to enhance the classroom, particularly what you said in terms of foreign support, in terms of learning readiness, and how will you assess them as they go along?
Okay, beyond what they do in the classroom, right? It's really the locality of the school is in Hopewell, Hanover, which is adjacent to, well, our surroundings are a lot of the tourist industry, right? The tourist industrial operation is in that area. We have the Trial Hotel. We have a lot of new upcoming hotels, new hotels that are there. So you're interacting with the environment, making tours to these places, visits to these places. But beyond that, we have the rivers, we have around us, we have the green areas around us, right? Children don't know much about those things anymore. And they go into an area, all they want to see is just building. No. I'm tired of seeing buildings. We want to see greenery, right? So take on a tour down into Pond Side, from where Merlin Attic originated. Those green areas, untouched, those are nice areas to visit, right? Experience the cool atmosphere down there, and just look at the trees, the fauna, the surrounding, the rivers, the waters, the purity of it all, and appreciate it and learn about it. Because soon and very soon, if we're not careful, we're going to lose these things and they will not know anything about them, right? Because the rate we are going, right? Where trees are being cut down and buildings are being put up. No, we don't want to lose that. So that is part of it. Taking tours to the various places, the safari in St. Elizabeth, the Black River area, all those things are part of the curriculum that is going to be driving learning at the school, right? We talk about children learning how to share, how to cooperate with each other, cooperative learning, sharing with each other, right? Because one of the things I find a lot of children these days, they are very self-centered, everything revolves around themselves. They don't want to share things with their friends. Right? We have to get into that space. And the pandemic has really driven that too, because people are afraid that, well, a virus will be transferred from what you touched to me. So, but we're going to have to find some way of overcoming that, right? Fear, and bring us back to the point where we can openly share with one another and embrace each other as our brothers and our sisters, right?
John, how will the online process? I'm very particular about that, especially you may incorporate your foreign support. Could that bring along some kind of experience where the children could interface with those in other jurisdictions? How would you go about that? Have you looked at it yet? Because our children now are very bright, almost being, in terms of born with the cell phone in their hands, taking selfies all the time. How will you get this kind of education, broad-based, for these kids?
So currently, I am involved with a weekly program with kids called Young People's Forum. It's an online networking for kids as well as teenagers. So you start from 5 years old, 4 years old, some of them. And this is held every Tuesday evening. Currently, we have kids engaged from Jamaica as well as around the world, Canada, UK, just kids coming together to learn. Where they learn real life experiences. So every so often you'll probably have a judge on board. We probably have an educator, a health person, and they're learning in the same time. There's a question and answer segment where after the person presents, then they're able to interact by asking their own questions. So that's currently being held. And I'm part of that every Tuesday evening. So that's a part of what I would love to bring in to the classroom, where these kids are not just interacting with their own, persons, our friends, our family, cousins, whoever they are, but they are going outside virtually. And this is one of the good things about COVID. COVID has opened up the ability for many kids to be able to interact. That platform that I'm on Tuesday, also currently we are working with a school in Jamaica where we help them, we bring supplies to them. The current school year coming up, we have already started, putting books and stuff together to help kids who are in difficulty financially to get back to school. So that part of it is where I'm focusing on bringing REMEC outside of Jamaica into the other.
Yeah, but John, I'm sure you're looking at it. You might have to look at boarding facilities. You better be thinking of that, because we have a tropical climate in Jamaica ready for learning. So I think you need to be looking at that, because you may just have people from North America wanting to send their children to study at our institution, because we have an excellent brand that we can look at. Junior, I think this is perhaps one of the final questions that I have for you as we wrap up. How will your many years of teaching and administrative experience in Jamaica help you in ensuring that REMEC continues to meet the high expectations of the Ministry of Education and Youth Early Childhood Commission? You cannot afford to make a mistake at all. So how can you ensure that these standards and regulations are met and continue to be met?
Well, first of all, having gone through the education system for so many years, I'm aware of a lot of the pitfalls that are there, and that awareness would guide me into not making those blunders, right? That's errors that I may have made or others have made over time, right? So in terms of the operational standards that are to be attained, we are, I'm all for that, right? And I'm aware of that, and we are working at that, right? To ensure that safety standards are maintained, building standards are maintained in terms of integrity of the building, administrative deadlines are met, health standards are maintained, right, for the kids and for the staff and for the whole environment. So sanitation, how we, what you do in terms of food storage and garbage disposal. All those things are standard operational, the highest operational standards we're going to work at for that. In terms of the kids meeting the expectation in terms of their vaccination and so on, all those must be maintained. The issue of attending workshops to upgrade ourselves and to keep in line with what new expectations there are, those are part of it, right? That we also have to will be guided by.
Very well.
My years of experience as a teacher, it will teach me how to be a little more mellow, right? How to be a little more understanding of some of the issues that people have, the social problems, the interpersonal problems among staff and children and staff or children, and give me a more humane understanding and appreciation of it, and deal with it in a way that is reflective of my own experience and maturity as an administrator and as an individual. Right?
Thank you, Junior. June, quick now, just 30 seconds. What is the direction for the institution from Hopewell? Can you guide us to the property?
Physical directions?
Yes.
So, okay, heading, what's that? South
Heading towards Sandy Bay.
Right.
Heading towards Sandy Bay.
I'm heading to Negril. Once you get to the town of Hopewell, it's just going through the town, and it's in an area called Pond Peace. It's not hard to find. Everyone knows the direction, and everyone knows who the name Myers is. You ask for Miss Risa, Mr. Myers' house, they'll tell you where that is.
Very well.
Yeah.
A more direct sign calling is, if you look for the sign, the Hopewell Seventh-day Adventist Church,
I know.
you see that sign, and you turn up that road, and we are right beside the Adventist Church. Right?
Very well.
With a big white tank in the yard, an elevated white tank in the yard. You can't miss it.
Okay.
Right?
Let me use this opportunity to thank Junior Myers, Principal, and Joan Myers, Administrator, brother and sister of Risa and Egbert Myers Educational Center, REMEC, for accepting the invitation. And we invite them, to speak to us about the second generation institution inherited by their late parents, who were founders of the institution, more so the mother. Likewise, in HeCoin is more so my mother, who was the founding institution of HeCoin. We wish for you every blessing as you start the new school year under God. Accept the prayers of the HeCoin family and our listeners. God bless you, Junior and Joe.
Thank you so much for having us, sir.
Thank you.
Right.
For persons who wish to make a donation to come and relax with HeCoin and what's on for next week are in the queue. Stay tuned.
Come and relax with HeCoin is a feature of Health Education and Counseling Institute HeCoin, the premier online educational institution in the Caribbean. For individuals, companies, and foundations that wish to donate or contribute to this program, which is primarily to provide solutions to the worldwide issues of the day, please call in or WhatsApp your donation. 1-876-223-7204 on Thursdays between 8:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. EST, or during work hours Monday through Friday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. EST, or email president@hecoinglobal.com. HeCoin, reaching people where they are, leading them to where they should go. As we look forward with great anticipation for a new academic year, September 2022, preparation is key for parents, teachers, and students. Come and relax with HeCoin. We'll examine how prepared we should be to start a new academic year amidst the global pandemic of COVID-19 and monkeypox. How prepared are our teachers with so many resignations, not only in Jamaica, but in every state in the USA and many other countries, including the Caribbean? How can our students be prepared for the uncertainty of whether there will be available subject teachers? Competent and experienced guests will be on our show to examine how to prepare our parents, educators, and students for what is said to be an interesting academic year, 2022 to 2023. Join host, educator, media and marketing consultant, and professor of media studies for over 30 years, Ambassador Professor Reverend Dr. Colin O'Neill Jarrett from Jamaica. The date to remember, Thursday, September 1, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. in Jamaica and 8:30 p.m. in other parts of the world heard on several media platforms to include RCP Internet Radio and TV, UFTV Gospel, DCM Internet Radio and TV, and all platforms of TDN. HeCoin, where your dreams can now be your reality.
Come and Relax with HeCoin came to you today from Mansell East Meets West Indian Restaurant, Shop 16A, Sonia's Plaza, Main Street, Oteria, St. Anne, Jamaica. Call Latoya or Hens for your restaurant booking at 1-876-601-2612 or email at info@corryhouseja.net. Excellent setting here at Mansell East Meets West Indian Restaurant for meetings, weddings, and other events. Let me thank the following stations for sharing the platform and for making this program available to you. RCP Internet Radio and TV, TDN TV on vstreams.net, TDN TV on Facebook, TDN Network 1 on YouTube, UFTV Gospel, DCM Radio and TV on all platforms. Today's show will be uploaded on YouTube in less than 30 minutes on Come and Relax with HeCoin with the acronym CARWH or Central Praise SKB. We are still in Jamaica 60, and so I will leave a beautiful poem with you from the Honorable Dr. Louis Benny Coverley OJ. No little twang, dry foot boy, done in Jamaican language. I thought for you this week, the way to get started is to quit talking and get started. Join us this and every Thursday at this time for Come and Relax with HeCoin, sponsored by HeCoin. I'm Ambassador Professor Reverend Dr. Colin O'Neill Jarrett from Jamaica, the proud president and CEO of this 33-year-old institution and in the second generation Health, Education and Counseling Institute in Jamaica, the Caribbean and beyond. Health, Education and Counseling Institute. Now receive the benediction. May the strength of God sustain us. May the power of God preserve us. May the hands of God protect us. May the way of God direct us. May the love of God go with us this day, now, and forevermore. Amen. Walk with my friend.
Boy, you know, shame us so you come out and you stand so long. Not even little language, boy, not even little twang. And your sister work 1 week with American and she talks so sweet now that we have the juice, we understand. Boy, you couldn't improve yourself and you get so much pay. You spend 6 months of foreign and come back ugly same way. Not even a drapes trousers. Not a pass the rhythm coat. Boy, not even a gold teeth, not a gold chain around your throat. Suppose I lost my pass, go introduce it to a stranger as my lamented son that lately come from America. Them would have laughed after me, boy, I couldn't tell them so. Them would have said me liar was I spent time on Moko. Don't back answer me, boy, you talk too much, shut up your mouth. I don't know how you and your father are going to make it out. If you want to please him, make him think you bring back something new. You always call him Pa. This evening when him comes, say Pooh. Say Pooh. But you can't win, you know. Because if you come back to hey, everybody say, where she are going with? Like the boy will come back from England and talk. What wrong with Mary Dryfoot, boy? Them gal got him for mock. And since I meet him the other night, the boy give me a shock. Me tell him same auntie and him cousin, them saying howdy. Me ask him how I'm getting on, him say, oh Jola. Me start to feel so sorry for the poor bad lucky soul. Me think him go up foreign land, go catch bad foreign coal. Me say him had a bad sore throat. But when him chat go on, me find out that his foreign twang the boy was a put on. For me notice that him answer to nearly all me say was actually what? Oh yeah. All them sitting there. Me get a joke. The girl them laugh. Hear the boy. Ho ho. Ho ho. I'm sure you got the ball to dash it to the cinema. Same time I get in a temper. Me had a boy carry out. I said, don't chat to me with no hot pity in your mouth. Him stand up like him stunted and hear him now. How so? I'm sure I really just don't understand you, actually. I said, you understand me? Are you near cousin Scoop? You always visit Nana kitchen and get laugh at gungo soup. And now all you can say is actually. Why but tap? What happened to them sweet Jamaica joke you use for pop? He get back and walk through the door, him head in the air. The girl them ball out after him. Not going, what? Oh dear. Yo. Yes, my dear. So you see when them come back, so you can't really win at all. You hear them? You see the music there? Me tell you about them. Same thing, all the music people, you know, them have a way with them, man. Same thing, a fella in a Birmingham, one in a London, you already do me. Fella me know where, like Peter, you see Peter there? The fella on the piano. You don't know him come from Jamaica, man. And when me come now, the fella should have well known me and know me can sing. Come ask me if he can sing in C. Hey, Miss Lou, can you sing in C? Miss, me sing in a river. Oh, my dear.